The ultimate showdown, Bali versus Thailand, the place you may want to live. Now, coming from two expats who's lived in Bali for 4 years and Thailand for 9 months, this is the ultimate expat dilemma that we're hopefully going to give you the scoop with the main categories that you would ponder if you were to move from your Western world or your home country. The good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, first of all, culture and people. Bali. Should we do Bali first?
So Bali is of course an island that's part of Indonesia, so the main language spoken there is Indonesian, or the locals speak Balinese. And it is a very, very spiritual and Balinese Hindu place. That's the religion there. It's very specific to Bali. So when you go there, you'll see on the streets, every house has a temple. There are offerings on the streets, which don't step on if you can.
So it's a very sacred place, which brings both pros and cons, which we'll explore. We saw a viral clip of a local being taken over by evil spirits, is that correct?
Yeah, so take our word for it, there are spirits there. The Balinese believe in it. That's why they have Nyepi, which is a silent day every year on the New Year. So, you know, respect their culture, respect their religion, respect their sacred land. You know, do what's appropriate and you'll be absolutely fine.
And during our time living there, there's been common stories of influencers just disrespecting that and not giving the Western world the best image. So as long as you respect culture, you try and learn the language with the basics. I think for us, it'd be like apa kabar is
I can speak Indonesian.
Jazzy can fluently off the tongue rip it. So what would you say as a quick Bali?
They like, you know, good morning, selamat pagi, or selamat siang, apa kabar, you know, how are you? They really appreciate any sort of effort, the locals.
Satu, dua, tiga is all you need. Learn the currency of which you're ordering at restaurants, so that's rupiah.
Yeah, as long as you respect their culture in terms of how you dress as well. If you're going to go visit a temple, you need to cover up. As long as you respect that, you'll be absolutely fine. But just know that they take it very seriously, their culture and religion.
But on the whole, the hospitality staff, the locals in general, really value family. They value belongingness, togetherness. We found that they're extremely polite, extremely down to earth, extremely up for a laugh as well. So don't allow this to kind of intoxicate your view of the locals to think it's super strict. In the Western world, we get so caught up in the material life. In Bali, it's all about family, community, ceremony. And that's what we've taken from Bali. I think it's a magical place and definitely a place that's a great introduction to Asia or Southeast Asia at large. If you're new to the foreign field, then that's a place for you. It does feel like a bit of a drug, I would have to admit. I think when we were there, our first 6 months, that honeymoon period with the place, we found that it was chaos, organized chaos. So it helps you rip you out of your Western institutions and your Western structure. And it might feel like a bit of a bubble, and that's what we've experienced. So that can feel like a bit of a con because you can get caught with the winds. You may not put your business first. You may not put your health first. You may not find a support network which helps you through the lows and highs, because that's kind of what we found. I feel like finding a community was pretty difficult in Bali because people come and go. And the types of people that live in different geographical locations in Bali is different as well. So explain a bit of that.
So we'd say the main expat community spots in Bali are Ubud, Canggu and Uluwatu. There's of course many other places, but we find that they tend to conglomerate in those 3 hotspots. So Ubud, you'd find more of the spiritual type. Uluwatu, more surfers, more families, and Canggu, more single people.
But one of our favorite places were Uluwatu on the whole. We found it most grounded, beautiful beaches down there, a good community feel, and a good place to raise a family if you were to do so. Beautiful villas and more supply for accommodation. We'll get to that in a second. So introducing Thailand on the other side of the spectrum, of which we spent 9 months, if you didn't know already.
Or roughly a year, because we did Phuket, we left and we came back to Koh Samui, and yeah, well, of course it's part of Thailand, so they speak Thai there. Now, we don't speak a whole lot of Thai, but we learned a few words here and there, like Sawadee Ka.
It's at the back of the throat, is it?
They really do appreciate that as well when you make some effort to learn the language. And overall, yeah, I found Thais are really friendly, welcoming. Yeah.
They're very respectable. There's always a bow and a praying hands, kind of sawadee ka, and all the time it happen.
And the main religion there is Buddhism, although it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's as spiritual or religious as Bali, like it's everywhere in Bali. But in Thailand, I don't think everyone practices Buddhism. There's Muslim as well. Yeah, you get different religions. So yeah, as long as if you visit temples, of course, you need to respect their culture, cover up, act appropriately, and you'll be fine again.
And then for the expat community, we found, because we were there during the crisis in Europe, there was a lot of Russian community there, of which is, everyone gives them a bad name. I had a couple of great friends who are Russian, so do not paint the Russians with a bad paintbrush, and they're not all the same, not all built the same. It was relatively international during the peak tourist seasons. There was lots of Europeans hopping over. We were in Phuket, which is quite a holiday destination, tourist destination anyway, and Koh Samui, very touristic. So that was the negative compared to Bali.
Yeah, I feel like Bali is a bit easier to find community.
Yes. Though the expat community we did like is that it's more family focused, meaning people are there for the longer run. People are buying cars, getting their kids into international schools, are there longer term. So you can build roots, build friends that aren't going to hop off to another country anytime soon. So we found that more beneficial.
It's a lot more family friendly, I'd say, Phuket in particular. We always felt like the odd ones out without kids, or now we're about to, but at the time.
It got the baby hormones going, didn't it?
So yeah, lots of families. If you have a family, there'll be no issue there.
Okay, category number 2, general lifestyle. Now let's start with Bali. The best thing about Bali is there's a lot of choice with dining options, cafes. The costs are relatively low, especially now we're here in Australia. We compare the prices, it's bonkers. It's 2.5 times cheaper. Thailand and Bali are very similar in this respect, but we absolutely love the European influence and Australian influence in the cafe culture. So if it's interior design, if it's an environmental feel, if it's the offers on the menu, there's a real international offering, which we quite liked.
In terms of nightlife, I'm not a nightlife person, so I can't really speak on that. You tried before we met, some nightlife in Bali, right? What was that like?
I think nightlife in Bali, again, another little bubble. There's some big names, big DJs, big events that happen in Bali. I remember seeing Peggy Goo right behind her DJ set. It was quite a unique experience. That was in Canggu and Seminyak. But Canggu, Seminyak, Uluwatu have beautiful beach clubs, whether that's humane or not, because they've wiped out a lot of the local warungs on the beach side, which is quite a sad thing that we're seeing now. But big money comes in, builds kind of a non-personable or simply a cash cow in a nightclub, which is quite sad to see. But it brings a sense of class. So there's nightclub experiences like you never have had before. If you're into nightlife and partying, there's a beautiful scene for, quite hippie music, a low level kind of electronic dance kind of scene in both places.
And there are a lot of beach clubs you can go to during the day as well. In Bali, it's almost too many beach clubs, but yeah, there are some nice ones where you can chill at. There are just lots of places in Bali where you can get, like a day pass, chill in the pool, do some co-working, go to the cafe. That's pretty much what we did every day. We went out for all meals. We worked out, and on the weekends we went on day trips and things like that. So
it's one thing we've missed massively in the West now.
Also, it's quite easy to get takeaway if you want. There's a service called Gojek in Bali where you can order food from a restaurant, they deliver, give them a good tip when they arrive with your food. But yeah, so that's convenient as well. It's convenient lifestyle in Bali, put it that way.
There's a lot of time freedom as a result, so you don't have to, spend time on menial things that you would normally do in a home country to keep your costs low. So highly convenient.
Yeah, like you can get your laundry done. You can, it can almost turn you a bit like quote unquote lazy. I've had to learn a lot to do the laundry and cooking, all of that since coming back to Australia, which is great. I love it. But yeah, like you don't have to do all of these things at all in Bali.
Lifestyle for Thailand. Well, because Thailand has been a bit more developed in the touristic scene, I think it's had a few more years than Bali to really build its infrastructure up. We loved going to the cinema. We loved the shopping centres. I think Thailand's above and beyond in terms of the rollout of 5G and internet. So if you're a digital nomad relying on fast internet connection, Thailand is better. Yeah, Bali was very unreliable when it came to that. But for recreational activities, there's a lot to offer, you know, that you can go see the elephants. Lots of the typical tourist beach activities. You can go get jet skis, go on those banana boats.
You can go get massages.
Big things like water parks on holidays, very similar.
You can order food as well. Thailand or in Phuket, there's a service called Food Panda, where you can, just order takeaway, get it delivered to your door. You can get your laundry done. So I think the lifestyle is really quite similar.
Yeah, I'd agree, yeah. Number 3, infrastructure and visas. Now, this is the big drum roll because Bali is renowned for chaos. I think it embodies chaos, meaning if you're ordering postal deliveries, it will get lost somewhere by ferries, you know, it will just
or get held up in the what's it called? There's many times that we ordered packages, never received it because you have to pay tax, it's an import tax if you order from overseas, so know that, and they will hold it and they don't always contact you, so I never got contacted and it just got sent away, so delivery is not easy.
The road structure and traffic is an absolute jam. So notoriously, there's the Canggu shortcut. Interestingly, me and you have experienced it 4 years ago when it was no soul to be seen.
Yeah, because of COVID, I drove on the shortcut all by myself. It's never gonna happen again. Yeah. But yeah, roads are really chaotic there. Yeah. If you're going to learn to drive a scooter, take lessons, please, because that will really help because it's really chaotic. Yeah. And it's the roads are small, narrow, you can get stuck in traffic for a long time.
There's no such thing as a pedestrian walkway or the path. No. That becomes like another lane for motorbikes. So it's not the most safe when it comes to walking around.
Or there's like potholes and things. It's, if you're in a wheelchair, it's absolutely not accessible at all, things like that. So, yeah.
And the way Bali's governed, it's by the Banjar, of which are community governance. So they'll take care of their local areas, and if it's to their word, they'll develop it, they'll improve it, they'll fix it. But there's no kind of overarching government body. I'm sure there is, but it seems to be less efficient, less problem solving and quick to turn the table. So it's all down to the locals and local initiatives to fix things. So this can be quite, again, chaos is just like Bali imagines. But if you thrive in chaos, of which I did at the beginning, it's great for sparking creative ideas. It's great to feel liberated. You break in a few rules here and there. It's not totally something to be worried about. But then there's a big part of it, which is the police. Now, I don't want to get too much into this, but they're relatively strict. And there is a bribing policy. So as long as you've got some money in the back of your motorbike, you can pay off the police and move on with your day. So they do tend to cherry pick and discriminate at times. So do be careful. You've got a helmet on. I broke that rule a fair few times. You've got a t-shirt on as well. But be wary of the police on the crossroads, and they tend to park themselves in big, dense, popular areas. So do know the crossroads. The Canggu shortcut is relatively safe for that. But if you're on the Kerobokan intersection, or if you're in Seminyak at all, those areas are hotspots for the police to be parking.
And in terms of healthcare, we've been to local medical clinics, right, for a few things here and there. It's always been a great experience, I think.
Yeah, very
It's always
efficient.
been fine. You pay for it, but that's fine because it's not as much as going to a doctor in the Western world. And I've even seen a gynecologist, I think that's what it's called, for something, just to check my uterus once, and that was fine. Yeah, that was like a maternity clinic thing. So yeah, that was great. There are some great healthcare services in Bali, and I've never been worried. We've even gotten rabies jabs in hospitals before.
Yes, and there is a real, as we said, Banjar police things. So if your name's bad-mouthed in the community, they'll snap you out. It's very socially governed. So your name might be thrown out on a Facebook group and then you'll be cool, right? So be careful what you're posting. This is what we found. I think many people believe it's a holiday mode. There's no consequences for anything when you're posting on social media or being a Muppet. There can be, and there's community pages, which we'll get to probably in a second. Things like the Canggu community, Canggu poll, which is a meme page.
If you do something inappropriate, you'll be called out.
Yes,
which is,
called out.
It's a good thing.
It's a social shaming, but it keeps that order.
Yeah.
And
because you got to respect the local culture. That's just it, isn't it?
Okay, so infrastructure and then the visa process. So
we just always used a local visa agent. So find a good, reputable, that has many good reviews, a visa agent, and whatever visa you may need, depending on how long you want to stay, that will sort that out.
Yeah. The company we used, and we're not affiliated at all, is Visa for Bali, number 4. Just Google. They're a Facebook entity, but there's nothing dodgy about it. Very good. Thailand, infrastructure and visas.
Yeah, so again, the visa, the same thing applies. Find a good, reputable visa agency. You can even search it on Google Maps. They got a lot of reviews, that's a good sign. So sort that out with them. They're really, really great. The roads are so much better. I mean, I felt so much safer on the scooter in Phuket, compared to Bali, because they're wider, they're built well, there's no potholes, or really rarely. There's no dogs that are just gonna come and jump onto the front of the road, or no chickens. They're just so much safer, honestly. And overall, I'd say it's the sanitation and all of that is probably a bit better in Phuket as well compared to Bali.
Yeah, it's a sewage. Like the sewage is better dealt with. There's no like kind of big puddles and build-ups of gutters over leaking. So that would be a real issue for health and disease and whatever to be caught. Thailand seems to just be way better built.
Healthcare is also pretty good. Phuket, I'd say, even Koh Samui have better hospitals. I think it's even better. And Koh Samui in particular, it is quite a small island, but I was pregnant there and I was so impressed with the maternity healthcare there, like really impressed. We found this newly built hospital in Koh Samui, got 2 scans there. They're so on point. It was just so great. Yeah. And in Phuket, I think you went to see a doctor once
Bangkok
in hospital. That was great. Like it's really
quick,
great. That hospital is slightly pricier, but you expect that because it's private. It is private, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you pay for your services, you're not on waiting lists, you're going to get it pretty quickly. And their communication network's very good. They'll get you in, get you booked in. And again, if you don't want to go the mainstream medical route as well, we found on Koh Samui, and I'm sure Phuket as well, there was holistic therapists. So when I had a knee injury, and I did everything for 9 months to fix it. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? And found this really, really educated rehab therapist. She was fantastic, local Thai, and sorted me out. I think from that session alone, I healed my knee, which was fantastic.
That Koh Samui?
That was Koh Samui.
Oh yeah.
Again, I think our favorite places in Phuket were Bang Tao, Phuket town. I'd say avoid Rawai. It's a bit seedy. Patong, avoid it. And Kata. Kata's known for more touristic, but those areas we absolutely love for infrastructural basis. It's culturally pretty rich. It's got beautiful beaches on a stone's throw. The road networks are really nice to get around, and the cafe selection and built-upness is really there. Koh Samui, we'd highly recommend Fisherman's Village, that sort of region where we were. We hear a lot about Chaweng and Chaweng Noi, and just south of Chaweng there's a lovely sort of expat area, and then Lamai, but we didn't really like Lamai. I think we quite like the northeastern part of Samui, so if you're anywhere around there, you're doing all right. Okay, weather and environment, big things is why you're getting out of your rainy hotspot or your miserable London or whatever it is.
So in Bali, the dry season is about May to November. It's a really, really great time to go. It's mostly hot and sunny, doesn't rain all too much. And rainy season is from about November, December to April. So that's when it rains a lot more actually. But if you come on a holiday, you could get lucky and still have some good weather.
And it kind of flip-flops, just the dance to Thailand now. That's why people love to combine Thailand and Bali, because in the hot seasons are in the flip side is from November to May, April, isn't it?
That's the best time to go to Phuket.
And then there's monsoon season from April to September, October, which is not ideal, which we'll get to in a second.
I found that one of the most magical things about Bali is the nature there, right? You've got Mount Agung, you've got just stunning, like absolutely stunning, the mountains. There's nothing like it. It's spiritual island for that reason. It's stunning, and you've got the rice fields as well if you drive in the more rural areas, and that's something that's so unique about Bali that we loved.
Yeah, an hour's drive, you'll get a totally different biome, different sort of climate. The humidity might change, it might get a bit colder.
Can I tell a story?
Yeah.
When we've driven, so we'll put a map up on the screen. We've driven from Uluwatu, which is in the south, all the way to the northwest, which is Sumakima, our favorite.
Of which we'll put the vlog. We've got a vlog in the top left.
We got engaged there, and it's a special place, but we drove about 5 hours to get there. And it's crazy because Bali is, it's a small island, but we drove through extreme heat and the sunny weather, right, from about Uluwatu till Ubud, and then you start going into the mountains and it gets freezing, like really freezing. Your hands were like stiff, weren't they? Yeah. So stiff, and it's like cloudy, it was raining. And then you get all the way to Sumbakima and it gets dry and hot again. And you ended up burnt, but it's crazy the climates you go through just going through Bali.
And there's activities for everyone. So hiking, surfing, snorkeling, diving, that's all on Nusa Penida and the Nusa Islands. There's a real diverse activity range, I think, for Bali. Thailand.
So the seasons are quite flipped. It depends where you are in Thailand, but if you compare Phuket to Bali, seasons are flipped, which is perfect if you want to travel between the two. And I found being there in the dry season in Phuket was so amazing. It was so amazing. We were going to the beach every weekend. We had the most magical trip to Phi Phi Islands with your family. It was just blue sky every day. Now, I think it actually gets even more hot in Phuket than Bali at times. Sometimes were unbearable. I remember that trip, I was sweating non-stop. So it can get pretty hot just before the monsoon comes. And then during the monsoon season, it's pretty rainy. The beaches really transform. But the beaches in dry season, which is why I recommend dry season, go then, because it's stunning. Like crystal blue waters.
Oh yeah, picturesque, just like the postcards. It's not Instagram versus reality. It's reality versus reality. It is stunning.
We love the beaches blue. Are way better in Phuket than Bali. Way better and more swim friendly.
A couple of our favorites, if you want to pin it on your Google Maps. There's Banana Beach up by Bang Tao Beach, Surin Beach, we absolutely loved. What's that? Aeon. Oh, that's a gem. We should have kept that quiet, but that's on the southeast by Phuket town. Bang
Tao Beach. Kata Beach is okay.
That whole west coast, you can't go wrong. Apart from Patong, stay away from that. Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, moving on. Safety and security, Bali first.
Bali has, I would say, a bit of a higher crime rate. Now, it's not dangerous. I would not put it in a dangerous category. But if you compare it, because that's what we're doing, to Thailand, I think it's just the bit more crime there.
There's a big influx because there's big development, Western developers. So there's a big demand for construction workers. And so they've sourced it all from Java. There's going to be a less consequential action on the Javanese coming into Bali rather than the Balinese locals. So what happens is, you've had this experience before, right? Where they'll sort of wolf whistle you as you walk past. And I think, people who are not tied to Bali can get away with a lot. And I think with kind of more foreign locals who need a buck, they need some money, and because the potential governmental infrastructure isn't providing for them, doesn't have a great benefit scheme, and COVID hit as well with a bit more of an issue financially for most of them, then you may be a target. We've heard of many villa break-ins. I've had helmets being pinched, so if I put my helmet on my scooter, it's gone. I've had about 3 helmets pinched in my time. So put it in your scooter seat.
Even then, you know, scooter seats get broken open, so never leave anything valuable in your scooter seat or in your car. And yeah, I mean, thankfully nothing ever happened to me, but I heard stories as well where villas get broken into, things get stolen, phones get snatched. So if you're on a scooter, don't take your phone out, put it in your bag, like please do that and keep it in front of you. So just be aware, always be aware of your surroundings. Again, it's generally a safe place, but things like that do happen in Bali.
But on the whole, you know, because labour is quite low cost, there's a lot of security guards on doors of villas. So if you have the spare cash or you're paying for an apartment with a security guard, there tends to be a lot of security guards. But the funny story is, we were in a private villa and you scared our security guards. So whether how reliable they are, who knows, but he was lovely. You scared the most gentle little lady popping through the
I opened the door and then he just went
So if you've got a gang of balaclavaed up Balinese coming in for your villa, then yeah, you're in trouble. But the thing is, I think it's not the locals to blame really on the whole, because they believe in karma. They believe in what goes around comes around.
It's just desperation can lead to, you know, burglary, you know, things like that.
And the way the world's been running for the past few years, I'm not surprised. And sometimes it's not their fault. They're just finding the easy superiority here. They're trying to find a quick fix, and up to them.
And the other safety concern that I had in Bali especially is the dogs. Now, I love Bali. We adore Bali dogs. They are the most intelligent. I just adore them so much. And don't go randomly petting a random Bali dog, okay? They're very, very protective of their compound, of their family. Only pet a Bali dog if they come to you. Yeah. I think that's standard practice, but especially Bali dogs. They can be so protective that if you're on a scooter and you drive into a gang, which is a small street, they may want to bite you. I'm just going to say that people have been bitten. I've been bitten. You've been bitten, right? Don't randomly go pet one. Don't have fearful energy either. Just be confident, and just know that, you know, they are very protective dogs.
But that said, there's also a con on this, because there's a lot of suffering with Bali dogs. There's lots of dog litters being dumped in dumpsters. And it is the dark and ugly side of Bali as well, because unfortunately, local families, A, may not value dogs, and B, not have the financial capacity to raise puppies as well. So it might just be a survival instinct to dump. But this happens commonly. There's lots of institutions and charities that help rescue dogs, which is fantastic, but they're highly oversubscribed. And the big issue, if you're a highly sensitive person, an empath who absorbs a lot of the energy from the environment and doesn't like to see too much suffering, Bali is a big con there, because you see it very commonly, especially as you go up into the mountains in the local communities. There's a lot of dogs riddled by scabies, losing fur, looking malnourished. It's a very common occurrence, and it's hopefully not a growing problem. There's a lot of people helping out, but something to be aware of.
It's hard to see. It really is hard to see. Yeah. But it's the truth of what is there. You know?
Another thing about Bali that we saw against Thailand is that you're in amongst the elements of nature. So you're in bamboo huts one moment, and you're in, you know, open air villas, and sometimes you can encounter nature. So there's snakes, there's geckos, there's spiders.
Yeah, we've had a snake come into our villa once because it was open plan. We had a big, what are they called? Monitor, a big monitor lizard come in as well. So that's a thing, Yeah. And one thing to just really be prepared for and expect are geckos. You can't get away from that. Even if you're staying in a 5-star luxury resort, you're going to get geckos in your room. That's just part of Bali. So don't worry about it. They're harmless. They're fine. It's all good, except for the big ones. I'm talking about little geckos. There are big ones called tokos.
And they're cannibals. They eat their own kind. That's how they get so big. Give them a beta test of what to expect with a gecko, my love. Do the gecko impression.
A toko, which is this big, they sound like
It's too good. It's too good. Don't eat me, dear. But even if you book a 5-star hotel, they're kind of unavoidable. And I think a lot of people complain about that because they expect Western cleanliness and urbanization, but that's just not the case. The moral of the code is respect nature and the island will be good to you. Thailand, safety and security.
Yeah, Thailand, I found overall, I felt really safe there. And that's also because we were staying in more apartment style rather than private villas. So that was always really safe. Overall, I felt way safer. Yeah, in Phuket, in Koh Samui.
The policing structure is they're more strict in a good way. I think they induce a sense of order in the communities, and people are genuinely, I think, respect the police force in Thailand, which is good.
Yeah, in Phuket, I honestly rarely saw street dogs. More so in Koh Samui, but even in Koh Samui, I found that the street dogs are less, what's it called?
Aggressive.
Less aggressive than Bali dogs. I adore Thai dogs so much. One
Very
day,
similar.
maybe we'll get a Thai dog one day. Oh, adopt one, maybe.
And I think just less traffic accidents as well. I've witnessed some pretty nasty scenes in Bali of crashes and deaths as well, and casualties. But in Thailand, just because the infrastructure is so well put together, people respect the code. There's no jumping lanes at stupid times. There's no like 20 people to one lane as well. It's just it's more spread out across the board, and people respect that as well. Next thing, food and cuisine. Now, the international dishes, Bali, the nasi goreng.
Lots of Indonesian food, the satay chicken, gado-gado.
What else is there that's lovely? What those the green pancakes.
Yeah, these green pancakes made from pandan leaves. Lots of great food in Bali. There are, of course, lots and lots of Western options, a lot of Western cafes, your smoothie bowls, acai bowls. You can get everything in Bali.
Oh, and jamu. That's an Indonesian concoction.
Yeah, this turmeric and ginger, right?
A bit of honey if you want to sweeten it up. I think cinnamon if you want to as well, but it's great anti-inflammatory.
Oh, yeah.
It's better than coffee in the morning. It's just highly invigorating. Big word there.
Yeah, so food overall is really great in Bali. You can get a range.
That said though, the local warangs, while it's cheap, you have to be careful about is it the palm oil that you might use? I think we kicked off in kind of some spots, some weight gain that we might not have wanted. I didn't feel like I was in the best shape of my life in Bali because we were eating out quite often as well. So, be of course balanced in what you eat. And I think just eating from reputable restaurants, do so, because there's a big iconic Bali belly for those that have waterborne Bali belly, or I think it's just an initiation into Asian culture anyway. But be careful that you're eating at a reputable spot, I think.
But if you get Bali belly, I think it's a good thing because it just means your system's getting used to the bacteria and you probably won't get it again. So
yes, the initiation is part of the journey. Anyway, Thailand. So food and cuisine. Again, I think there's an ultimate winner here.
We love Thai cuisine. Yeah. We love it. You can't go wrong.
So Bali, we've mentioned a few things that could fill half a menu. Thailand could fill a Bible's worth of food. Like, it's insanely good. Like, you've got curries beyond belief. You've got the mango sticky rice,
pad thai, all the noodles.
If you love your chicken, it's going to be great. Fried rice. What's the one with the cashew nut, chicken cashew nut, pineapple fried rice?
Oh my gosh, and Thailand is actually known for their markets.
Oh yeah.
Local markets.
They celebrate food. That's the thing.
Yeah, especially in Phuket.
So a massive range of variety. Yeah. It's a social thing as well, which we loved. They really value it, pride it. I think, Thai cuisine is everywhere in the West anyway. It's that good. And being in the local space for it as well, you can't beat it. Next one, language and communication. So how easy and simple and convenient is it to communicate?
I'd say, yeah, in Bali, most locals, especially if you hire a driver, for example, or hospitality staff, they all speak great English and you can converse and it's all good. Same with Thailand, in my experience. Locals generally all speak English, so if you only speak English, you'll be absolutely fine, whether you're in Thailand or in Bali. But of course, I think what's important is that you don't just feel entitled and expect the locals to just speak English. Yeah, just be respectful of that.
Building some rapport always helps. Just know a very basic level of their language, and then you can cross it in with your own native language as well. On the whole, they sit very evenly on that. I think they're both very good. It again depends on the industry. You know, if you're speaking to a manager of a big hotel chain, they're likely going to be very good at English. But if you're speaking to a local just coming out of her home, likely very native. So some sign language or the international signs can help, and just being a bit more expressionate with how you communicate. But yeah, very, very even tier. Yeah. Okay, big one for everybody out there, real estate. So how easy is it to rent, buy, or stay more in the rental market? Because we didn't really get too much into the buying part of things. Bali.
Well, most of our time in Bali was during COVID, so we experienced quite a lot of ease with finding accommodation and rentals. We got really great deals, so just have to be transparent with that, right? But
just to give you a story though, we were in a sort of 4-star hotel in Ubud. What do we pay a month?
Yeah, that was about 1,000 Australian dollars a month, including daily breakfast delivered to your door.
There was an on-site gym, on-site beautiful garden, pool, and we were kind of the only ones there. It was insane. But again, that's not a real reflection of reality.
No, that was a unique time. And by the time we left Bali, that's when tourism was coming back, and that's when we heard that accommodation was getting harder to find.
But again, depending on your budget and your price point, there's homestays to keep the costs low. There's kind of like co-living environments which help for anyone, but you're only going to get kind of a one room with a shower, an ensuite, and that's it. You're probably going to get that for about 10 to 15 million a month, a good one. But then if you want your own private villas, again, you need to go to private Facebook groups, which can be a bit sus and dodgy, so you have to do your due diligence.
Or Airbnb.
Airbnb again, but there's always an Airbnb fee on those. So yeah, there's a little few and far between, but I think with any kind of willpower, and if you're willing to do the search, you'll find your dream villa for no problem at all. But we would highly recommend sussing it out, getting an Airbnb for a few nights. If you're going for long term, for a month or two or a year leases, definitely have a look around. You need to ask the landlord, is there any works that's going to be happening around here? And just suss out the road noise, access points, is the internet good? All the stuff we won't get into. But on the whole, it's quite a tight market to find things. I think it's now being very squeezed.
And something we really loved about Bali accommodation is it's always pretty aesthetic. I mean, unless you do a homestay, which is fine, that's what you can expect. But most villas are built very nicely, and you tend to get things included like cleaning, linen. They're all fully furnished as well, unless you buy a villa. But yeah, so that's Bali.
Thailand, on the other hand, a little less tasteful. Again, just like you said, the interiors, the developments themselves are a little bit block build, but there's a lot more apartment blocks to rent. I think there's more supply. If you're looking for islands like Koh Phangan, I've heard that's an absolute nightmare. Koh Samui can actually be very difficult, but if you're looking at Phuket, there's a lot of options. We found there's more apartments and villas, and that's kind of the two types you'll get. It's not really like a homestay at all. Homestays are quite Bali-esque. When it comes to price points, I think they're relatively similar. I hear that the more touristic zones though, like Bang Tao, in those regions are quite expensive. I would highly agree that the rate's high. But if you're looking towards like Phuket town or a local area, it would be more affordable if you want to just be a little less conveniently away from things. Next thing, education. If you've got a family or kids, which we're about to pop, so it's a big point of contention in our head as to where we home base maybe one day, but between the two, Bali has a big option. Again, there's local schools, there's bilingual schools that teach both the Indonesian and English. which are probably in that mid-range, and then there's international schools. There's a fair few in Bali actually. There's the Green School is a big conscious, environmentally friendly bamboo complex, as it were, that's on the higher range in terms of costs. And I think it evens out to be about £10,000 a year per kid if you're different depending on their year level. And the same goes for Thailand. I think they're very similar there. There's lots of Thai international schools. I think actually the infrastructure for Thailand is a little bit better. Even on Koh Samui, there were options for international schools. But again, the same price point exists. I imagine about £10,000 per year for the high upper echelon international schools. And then both have lots of nature to immerse in as well. I had a good friend that was raised in Bali, and he's half German, and he said he absolutely loved the Balinese school compared to the European because they have day trips. Imagine a school trip to the rice paddies to analyze the nature. That'd be so good. And again, I know if you're in Facebook groups, there's a really holistic community in Bali, and I think in Thailand too, but Bali more so for homeschooling and an alternative curriculum at home. I feel there's a lot of kind of conscious parenting in Bali than there is in Thailand. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, the big one you've all been waiting for, the cost of living of both places. Yamala, Bali, do you want to kick us off?
I feel like overall the cost of living between at least Phuket and Bali is pretty similar if you live the similar lifestyle, of course. Probably transport like taxis is probably a bit higher in Phuket and Koh Samui. Food, I'd say, is about the same depending on where you eat. But if you like, same level of cafe, it is quite similar, I would say. Bali can have more tax in terms of restaurants. They always charge about 15%. Even doctor medical costs, I think, can be about the same.
Housing rentals, in the same categories, about the same as well. But then the pro for Bali, I think there's just more options. I think you can get even cheaper in Bali than you can get in Thailand. The homestays, the co-living environments are way more available than they are in Thailand. To be honest, if you want a more lavish lifestyle, Phuket and Koh Samui could be your bet. And if you want to surround yourself with a bit more wealth as such, then that could be the place. But Bali can really feel like luxury if you are in your own villa. That's just been new built and designed very tastefully amongst all your friends that live there as well. So I think they're level-headed there. Okay, so finally, thanks for getting so far through this video. That has been an in-depth review of both places. We hope it's helped. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Who is Bali recommended for? What's that person look like, dear? So
I would recommend Bali for those who are, if you're single, probably Bali, right? There's a bigger dating scene there.
If you're entrepreneurial, willing to network and get your name out there, if you're willing to immerse yourself in chaos, if that helps create a lot of creativity and kicks off some entrepreneurial juice, then go to Bali.
Yeah, and if you really, really value community, a digital nomad community, Bali is probably better for that. If you want to experience the, aesthetic boho, like accommodation, cafes.
There's lots of co-working spaces as well, and that's where I found my first friends. So if you're, going to a new place, finding new friends, there's lots of gym communities, CrossFit, conventional, and co-working spaces. A very good place to begin.
So if you really want to experience like the rice paddies and the mountains, like sort of the magic of that nature, probably go to Bali.
Yeah, good point if you're a nature lover. If you're fascinated by arts and local culture as a tourist, I think Bali has a lot to offer as well.
It's very rich in culture.
Very rich, yeah.
Yeah, again with nature, if you want everything in one, from mountains to waterfalls to rice paddies to beaches, Bali's got all of that. So,
yeah. Okay, who's best for Thailand? What's that person look like?
I would say, I personally feel, you probably agree that for couples or married couples, long-term relationships, Thailand's probably better for that in general, or a family. I found Phuket to be a lot more family friendly.
A bit more grounded.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a bit more order there. Like Bali's really chaotic and you can get distracted there. If you want more grounded, if you have a family, I would say go to Thailand. If you are like us, beach lovers, and you prefer the beach over forest, jungle and all that, go to Thailand for sure, or Phuket, Koh Samui, because the beaches are unbeatable, especially in dry season.
I think if you're a family raising children and you want that structure, again, that infrastructure, slight more safety, I think Thailand wins again. If you're a food lover, Thailand.
Thailand actually does have everything, you know, does have mountains, it does have the waterfalls and things like that, like Bali, but in Bali it's all just one island, whereas in Thailand there's so many spots. You've got Chiang Mai and Bangkok, which I haven't really talked about, that you know, the mountains and things like that aren't really in Phuket as such. Phuket is more, there's hills and there's the beaches, so it's not everything on one island.
And if you're seeking a fitness retreat, I think both win, but then Thailand offers Muay Thai. And if you're into martial arts, there's lots of Muay Thai camps and fitness camps I used to see. So if you're just trying to have your health kick, I think Thailand has a great atmosphere for that.
If you want to get away from influencer culture, probably go to Thailand.
It was a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. And if you didn't notice already, what's our favourite spot of the two? So I know we might get a lot of Indonesian haters now, and then a lot of Thai favourites, but I think we're in a part of our life where we would highly recommend Thailand. I think Thailand is what's really struck our heart. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed that deep dive of both places. If you've got questions, just pop them in the comments below. We hopefully get back to you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a mate if you enjoyed it. And just let us know what videos you want to see next. Much love from the two of us.
3 of us.
You're not wrong, dear. Much love, and we'll see you on the next one.